Today we're going to be answering the question, what is the integral of x cos h of x? One of the things that we need to note about the cos of h is that this is considered a hyperbolic function. And so over here we can see some of the hyperbolic derivatives. And let me show you a trick that I use whenever I differentiate or integrate. So if we differentiate sine h of x to get cos h of x, then that means that the integral of cos h of x would be equal to sine h of x. So if you differentiate something to get another answer, then we can integrate this answer to then get that. And that's going to be very useful whenever you integrate. So let's get started. Now the first thing that we need to do is define our variables. Let's just take note of the fact that we're going to be using integration by parts, basically using u, v, dv, and du values. So I'm just going to define my variables to say let dv equal cos h of x. Another tip that I can give you is whenever you want to integrate, your dv would typically be the easiest or most simplest one to integrate. And so dv's are typically values that are easy or simple for you to be able to integrate, and then if you need to differentiate it back, then you can be able to do that. And so dv is going to be cos h of x. And remember what I said over here when we were speaking about hyperbolic derivatives, that if you differentiate something to get this value, then you can integrate this value to get this. So if we see cos h of x would be here. The integral of cos h of x would give us sine h of x. So we can write that down. And so now let's choose our u variables. I'm going to say let u, since we said x times cos h of x, and we've defined dv to be cos h of x, we're going to define u, which is the only one remaining, to be x. And then du would basically be d over dx of x, which is equal to 1. So let's write that down. Perfect. So now we can just move on to substituting the values, right? We've defined u to be x, dv to be cos h of x, u, which we defined as x already, v to be sine h of x, v sine h of x, and then du is just going to be 1. So let's just substitute the values. X sine h of x minus the integral of v, which would be sine h of x, times du, which would be 1. Perfect. So that would give us sine h of x minus. Now what's the integral of sine h of x? Well, we know that the integral of sine h of x would give us cos h of x. And never forget your c. And that's the final answer. Thanks for watching.